let's take just a moment and allow your eyes to gently close. And just allow your awareness to pull into your breath. Instead of having our attention jumping around all over the sights and sounds and sensations in the world around us, or in the constantly changing thoughts and emotions and memories and feeling states in our brain. Instead of that constant, frenetic motion, just draw all of the attention, all of the focus, all of the awareness to the breath. And don't try to change the breath. Just simply allow the awareness to anchor itself fully in the breath. And allow that awareness of the breath to drop down low in your abdomen to an energy center, a chakra, that's just below your belly button, called the Swadhisthana chakra. It's just about 2 inches below your navel. When most of us pay attention to our breath, we notice it in our chest, or our lungs, or our rib cage. But for a moment, allow that awareness of the breath to drop. And bring that awareness down to this energy center of the Swadhisthana chakra. And again, we're not doing or forcing. We're just allowing. Just allowing the flow of prana. When it comes in, to come into that energy center. And you can think of that energy center, that chakra, you can think of it like a lotus flower. And as the breath comes in, notice how the petals of the lotus flower open. With each inhalation, as the prana comes in, just feel the petals of that lotus opening and opening. Swadhisthana literally means the place of the self. And so take just a moment and feel as you breathe the petals of the flower of yourself, your true self. Feel them open. And on the exhalations, as you exhale, feel yourself sinking back deeper and deeper into that Swadhisthana, into that energy center of the true self, that source of love, of peace, of light, of truth, of awareness. On each exhalation, just allow yourself to drop back into it. And on each inhalation, feel the petals of that lotus opening more and more. Slowly and gently, bring the palms of your hands together at chest level. And just gently rub the palms of the hands against each other. Now press those palms of your hands into your closed eyes. And slowly lower the hands and open the eyes. Welcome to Satsang. So starting with a few of the questions that have come in advance in writing, and then we'll open it to any questions that anyone here has. How to stop overthinking. The mind keeps on planning, reasoning, and doing analysis of things which are very trivial and ordinary. It takes things seriously, which are not meant to be taken seriously. At the moment, it feels like I am smart, but later I realize I was actually stupid to indulge in it, in such small matters. Please guide on how to avoid such a habit of mind. It's a great question because I think it's something that most of us do. And it is probably one of the greatest wastes of our time. It's why it's so important to have, no gossip policies and no grumbling policies. And because all they are is wastes of time. I mean, if there's a serious concern about something, by all means, think about it, voice it, discuss it. But what our minds tend to do is they just pick up on nothing. Nothing. There was a movie when I was growing up, and I don't remember anything about the movie, not even its title, except there was this one character in it who was the father of another character in it. And he was quite elderly and was starting to have dementia. And one of the things that he did, which was really funny in the movie, was wherever they would drive, he would just read out loud the street signs, or the signs wherever they would go. So as they would drive, he would say, "Mr. Smith's Laundry," £5 for the price of 2. McDonald's, 1 billion served. Crosby Street. And just as they would move through the town, he would just speak all this out loud. So of course nobody in the car could have a conversation, because he was loud and constant. And I've held that character in my mind for decades, because even though he was just a funny character in a movie that wasn't even a main character, it seems like most of us have one of those in our mind. Doesn't serve any purpose. We're not actually learning anything from it, gaining anything from it. There's nothing memorable about it. We're just going through life, kind of reciting street signs of whatever we're passing by, kind of allowing our minds to get completely preoccupied by things that have no relevance, no importance, no depth, no meaning. And the dilemma of that is that it may be completely innocuous, completely harmless, like this guy was. He wasn't saying you're awful, you're stupid. He wasn't telling them to go off and, get drunk or take drugs or have sex or rob a bank. He was just reciting street signs. But what it did was it prevented any other thought from happening in that moment. And that's what that aspect of our mind does in the best case scenario. It also tends to actually be the voice that starts to criticize us, send us in wrong directions. But on its good days, all it does is completely waste our time and energy. And it's just a habit. It's a habit of the brain. Like this guy, was starting to have dementia. And as his brain got sicker and sicker, he did this more and more. And we all have kind of that sickness. It's not a neurological illness. It's just an illness of habit. And the first thing to do, I was so glad that this questioner said, in the time I feel very smart. Like, yeah, that's me reading the street signs. That's me, noticing this thing, commenting on that. But later on we realize how stupid it is. Because it was irrelevant. And it wasted up all that time. I could have been using my mind to do japa, to recite poetry, to pray, talk to God. We all know so many people who need prayers. Pray for people who need prayers. Listen to beautiful classical music. Watch my breath. There's so many better uses of your mind. Plan something, initiate something, create something, manifest something that's actually going to make a difference, that's actually going to bring healing and help to our planet. At least a smile to someone's face. So we recognize it just as a habit, and the minute you notice it, stop it. There's all kinds of techniques for changing habits. One of my favorite is just the simplest kind of psychology 101 basic technique. You take a little rubber band and you put the rubber band on your wrist. And every time you engage in that habit that you want to break, you just flick the rubber band. This area of the wrist is very, very sensitive. The skin is very soft. Flicking a rubber band may not sound like much, and it's certainly very mild as far as self-flagellation goes. But I'm in favor of tenderness and self-love and self-compassion. So just a little rubber band. Every time you do it, you just flick it. But you got to do it in that moment. Don't do it 20 minutes later. In that moment as it's happening. The minute you catch yourself. And what'll happen very quickly, literally within 1 or 2 days, is the moment you start to have one of those thoughts, the body will cringe. Even before your conscious mind has recognized, oh, I'm doing it again. The unconscious part of the mind recognizes it first, and you'll notice a very subtle cringing in the body going, oh, I know it's coming. I know that fling of the rubber band is coming. I know that pain is coming. And the body starts to cringe in advance, knowing there's going to be pain. And so you stop. Very simple, very easy. Because these are not deep-seated depth of the being, traumatic, experiences we need to work out. These are just habits of the mind. And all you got to do is just change that habit. Start associating pain with it. Another good thing to do is keep a little jar or piggy bank in your bedroom. Every time you engage in those types of thoughts, put some money. Plan in advance how much it's going to be. A certain amount of money, though. It should be enough to hurt. Not enough to bankrupt you, but enough to hurt. Place some money in that jar. But here's the catch. That jar must go to some charity that you don't actually really believe in. Right? Like I happen, for example, to be, I'm American by birth, and I think most of you knew that. And one of the great dilemmas America is facing is the proliferation of handguns. And I won't go too much into that, but I tend to be very against the ease with which everyone can buy a gun and then just walk into school and kill people. And I'm kind of all in favor of more and more restrictions of the use of handguns. So for me, I would have to donate that money to, say, the National Rifle Association. Like the people who are doing all the lobbying for gun rights. So not only are you losing money, but that money is going somewhere that's exact opposite of what you believe in. Now again, very quickly, the minute that thought even starts to come, the mind goes, no. Because that's another bunch of money for those guys. So whatever technique works, but it should be something that doesn't make you feel awful about yourself, so it's not self-critical. It should have a little element of kind of a game with yourself, so you're not taking yourself too seriously. But also it should be something that hurts a little bit, just a little. A little bit of pain in the arm, a little bit of pain to the pocketbook. And slowly, you'll find that you actually are able to break the habit. And then you'll find that you're able to give the mind a new habit. Because that's the other piece. I was talking about this last night, I think, or the night before, that you have to give it something else to do. So instead of being negative, let it be positive. Instead of metaphorically reading the street signs, it should be doing japa. Make sure you have something else for it to do. So the minute you fling this, or you put the money in your piggy bank, the mind now has to have something else to do. So make sure to also give it that. Maybe there's mantras you want to be learning, poems you want to be learning, songs you want to be learning. Come up with 2, 3, 4 different things that you would like your mind to be doing instead of what it currently is doing. So that as you break the habit, you're able to bring in a better habit. Great. Other questions here? Yes.
So, I would like to say, good evening. So, we all carry energy and vibration in us.
You have to hold the mic a little closer.
So we all carry energy and vibration in us, right? And we walk projecting it every day, wherever we go, interact with whoever we want to. But life as true as it gets, puts people in some, unforeseen circumstances, scenarios, or struggle that they go through. And it's as much warranted as death is, as you said yesterday, right? So we may not mean to harm people or, project a negative vibe to someone else. But then,
Can you put the mic towards your mouth?
yeah, sure.
No.
So,
Tilt.
okay. So, got it? Yeah. Okay. It's not an ice cream, thanks. So, the question is you maybe want to have, a good connection with a person, just to talk, or maybe just to glance at them, or just a hi, a hello. But then when that thing is not returned to you, you're already, going through some struggle just like everybody else. But how to handle that moment where I had no negative vibe in me for the other person, but how to handle that? Maybe the thought is they should not have been astray, their energy astray to a negative direction because of our projection, right? I hope I'm making some sense or not. I'm not sure.
So it was a little bit hard to hear you. That's why she was trying to tell you to hold the mic. The problem is every time the mic moves, we get one word and then we lose a word and get a word and lose a word. But I think I got it. In terms of the energetic emanations that we all give, the manifestations that we all give, that as you're moving through the world, that if you hurt someone, is that what you were saying? That, oh. You don't, right, that's what I'm saying. You hurt them, but you don't mean to. Oh.
So it's
Mic de non kabhi. Aap pakad lo unke liye. Aap pakad lo.
So I'm saying when a person is going through some phase of struggle, and they are in that frame of mind where they're actually not thinking negatively about anything or anyone, but they just want to have sort of an interaction, and all the interactions that happen willingly or unwillingly, right?
Negatively, because they've got that negative energy going.
Yeah, but
got it. Okay,
But
I
we do
understand.
not mean to project it to them.
I totally understand.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, so when we're going through trouble and difficulty and suffering, that's the energy that we bring into our interactions. Now, we don't mean to hurt people, but because that's what we're going through, that's the energy that we bring. So, and of course, those are the times that we really need more and more love and support. If you think about the times that you've been on the receiving end of that, a friend, a loved one, a colleague is going through a hard time, most of us want to be there for that person. It isn't difficult. Most of us are not hurt or negatively impacted because someone has come to us when they're in a time of trouble. As long as that person is able to stay conscious. The problem that happens is if I'm not conscious, my anger, my frustration ends up getting taken out on others. A very common thing that happens is, let's say at the office place, I get unfairly picked on, my boss yells at me, not because of anything really wrong I did, but maybe my boss is going through a divorce or had a bad day or whatever it was. I get yelled at. I can't say anything to the boss because I don't want to lose the job. But I'm holding that negative energy. Now when I go home, instead of saying, hey, I had a really tough day at the office today, I need a hug. Or hey, I had a really tough day at the office today, let's go take a walk, I need some fresh air, I need to just tell somebody about it. Instead of that, what most of us do is we go home and we take out that frustration and anger on our family members at home. We don't tell them we had that tough day. We don't tell them what happened in the office, but we go home and now we start yelling and criticizing and taking out that anger on them. That's the unconscious way. So when someone is going through trouble, it's an opportunity for them. It's an opportunity for us all the time to stay conscious. What's really going on with me? What's really the source of how I'm feeling? If standing in my living room or my kitchen or in a restaurant with friends, I'm feeling angry and I'm about to take it out on the people around me, to have just a moment of awareness, of consciousness, and to ask myself, what's going on here? What is that? Am I really so angry over whatever is going on in the kitchen or the living room or what my friend just said in the restaurant? Or am I actually angry about something else? So as long as we're conscious, we're not going to share negative energy. By helping someone who's struggling, we don't feel negative energy. We actually feel positive energy to be able to give them love. When someone's needing love and we are able to generate and share love and compassion and understanding, well, that love and compassion and understanding is being generated within us. So that's actually what we feel. We don't feel the negativity unless the person in front of us, essentially vomits it out onto us by taking it out onto us in that way, which is what a lot of us do. So as long as you stay conscious, A, it'll be a lot nicer for the people around you, but B, you will actually get what you need. Because picking a fight with your spouse or your children or your friends doesn't actually heal you from what you were going through. It doesn't help you in any way. All it does is further isolate you. So if you're struggling, be honest about it. You don't have to take an ad out in the newspaper, but be honest with a couple of people about it so they can fully support you. Be vulnerable, be open, be transparent, let people know what's going on. And that gives them the beautiful opportunity to show up with compassion and love and understanding. And it gives you the opportunity to actually get what you need to help transform that negative energy into positive energy. Yeah, of course. Other questions? Yes. No.
Good evening, ma'am. I am student from Gurukul Kange Vishwavidyalaya, Haridwar, and my question is, how can we know that what I am meant for? Means, what is my destiny? How can I know?
Beautiful. So, unfortunately, we don't come onto Earth with serial numbers, tattooed on our rear ends that we can then just Google it to discover what that is. Is it a Honda? Is it a Toyota? Is it or some QR code, that you can just look it up on? What is this? We don't know. But, fortunately, what we know is that our highest destiny, what you could consider the ultimate serial number, the universal serial number for all of us, is that the reason we're here, our destiny, if we are conscious, if we actually live our life in accordance with Dharma, then our destiny is what we call self-realization or God realization. That discovery of the truth of who we are, that oneness with the divine. That's the ultimate destiny that we're all going toward. Now you're young, you're a student. You probably meant it not only on the highest spiritual level, but also on a pragmatic level, like what job should I get? What should I study? And here's the thing, there isn't an equation for it. Other than, the only equation I can give you is trust yourself. Because every one of us has within us what Pujya Swamiji calls an inner GPS. We actually know inside us where we're supposed to go, what we're supposed to do. The problem is that instead of listening to it, we let in the voices of fear, of desire. Oh yeah, I could do that, that's my dharma, but then how am I going to buy all the toys? I've got this desire for all this money, how am I going to have it if I fulfill my dharma over here? Or we have a voice of fear. Oh my God, if I fulfill my dharma over here, how am I going to pay the bills? Or oh my God, people will laugh at me. Or what if I fail? Then I'll be embarrassed. Then people will make fun of me. I'll embarrass my family. So those are voices of desire, they're voices of fear, they're not the voices to listen to. Then we also have the voices of culture and society that essentially say, thou shalt make a lot of money, thou shalt have a good job, thou shalt make the neighbors jealous, thou shalt... I mean, this is what so many of us are programmed for. Do that which, when the neighbors see you, they go, wow, 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 and they say to your parents, wow, kamale matab, amazing what you've done with him. But this is not what we're here for. You're here to follow your own inner GPS. Within each of us is a light. A beautiful light. And it's going to guide you. But what you need to do is you need to stay anchored, grounded, and sincere. The critical piece is sincerity. Whatever you do, do it sincerely. You are a student right now, be a sincere student. If you can't be a sincere student, drop out of school. Don't waste your teacher's time or your parents' money. You're a student, be a sincere student. Study. Even if you don't know where you want to go from now, that's okay. Right now, all you have to focus on is being a sincere student. Do it to the best of your ability. You won't be good at everything, I promise. That's how you know you're still human. Right? I mean, some of us were great in math. Others of us really struggled in math. Some of us were great in foreign languages. Others could not put together a sentence. Some are great in art. Some are still drawing stick figures like myself. You know what I mean? We all have different skills, different abilities. But sincerity is key. Whatever you do, do it sincerely. And if you can't do it sincerely, don't do it. So study sincerely. And as you study, allow yourself to be open. It's a beautiful time of life because you're getting all of these different opportunities. Let them in. What inspires you? What interests you? What excites you? What makes you feel like you would be excited waking up every day to do that? What makes you feel like you would be interested in your life to do that? Don't think about what's going to make a bunch of money. If you're interested and you're excited about what you're doing, enough money will come. And what I can tell you from knowing lots and lots of people around the world, many, many, many billionaires, and many, many, many starving artists, essentially. And what I can tell you is the only thing that makes a difference in people's happiness is them doing that which is real for them. The billionaires are no happier than the artists or musicians living in one-room apartments but able to make art or make music. Unless someone became a billionaire loving what they do. There may be those. But if you became a billionaire essentially not liking what you do but just money for money's sake, you're never going to be happy. So it's a very beautiful time of your life as a student. Really tap in. What fills you up? Not just what do you enjoy for a moment, but what do you enjoy deeply that actually helps other people, that brings some kind of light to other people, to the planet? What can you offer to this beautiful planet? It gives us free air, free water, free soil, free sunshine, free flowers with free fragrance. It's given us so much. What are you going to give back? Think about it like that. And then every step you take will be the right one. And you may take one step now, and then a few years later, something else shows up in your life, and then you take those steps. You don't have to plan and plot the next 60 years of your life now. Don't worry about it. Just figure out what direction you're going to walk in right now. Walk sincerely. And stay open to doors that open along your path. Beautiful. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening, everyone. A beautiful morning and day to our family joining us from all over the world. And I look so forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Have a beautiful, beautiful night.